And joining us on debate number 2 this evening, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, National Spokesperson of the BJP. MR Venkatesh joins us from Chennai, CA and Policy Analyst. Brijesh, Kalappa, Spokesperson of the Congress. Also with us, Legal Advisor to the All India Muslim Personal Law Board is Zafaryab, Jilani. Dr. Tasleem Ahmed, Rehmani, President of the Muslim Political Council of India. And Father Stanley, Spokesperson, Archdiocese of Delhi, is with us from Delhi. Now, let me come to you first, Mr. Jilani, because the most important question here perhaps today is that when the court sends out a reminder saying that we have no option but to allow the man in question in this particular case where the debate is really stemming from, the court says literally, the judge says, I had no other option but to let personal law override the IPC. Doesn't that in itself tell us that there is an urgent need for a uniform civil code in this country? And if not, why not?
First, I may clarify that there is no legal advisor to Personal Law Board. I am simply a member of the Personal Law Board.
All right.
So then I will tell you that there is no need for any such change. This law is existing for more than 100 years, and there has never been such an occasion where the court so feels true. Somebody sometimes misuses a law. That does not mean that the law is obsolete. That we should think of it. And Muslim law has taken care of it, that the law is not
But you know, you've given, even in your answer, I'm sorry to interject, but Mr. Jilani, even in your answer, you talk about the fact that this is 100 years old. Don't you feel that there is a need for progress? Don't you feel that today in the 21st century, women need to get equality? Don't you think it's antiquated and outdated? That you know, a man has a right to marry 4 women, and that, you know, that there's nothing the law can do about it?
No, I can tell you very frankly that sometimes it becomes in the interest of a woman. That, for instance, there is a couple recently married, and they are in their teens, and then the wife suffers with such a disease when she cannot have any kind of physical relations with the husband. Now both want to retain each other's relationship. Both want to continue as wife. In that eventuality, if the husband is allowed to have a second wife, definitely it is in the interest of the woman.
Does the woman have any say in it? Does the woman have any say in it?
Let us talk about
but the woman doesn't have any say in it. And even the example that you're giving,
yes,
you know, the fact is that the Muslim personal law even allows girls as young as 15 to get married. Is that in the interest of modern society today?
See, try to understand the logic that it is better to have a married wife as against to have illicit relations. Now it is only to check that eventualities that a permission has been given, and just now we have heard Maulana Khalid is saying that it is only under those circumstances where man can treat
okay, I think MR Venkatesh wants to open up the counter to your the points that you've made. MR Venkatesh.
Prevent infidelity by saying that let there be 4 more marriages or 3 more marriages, and that is the sure way to protect the wife. I think this must be the most absurd logic ever put on national channel. I think let us look at it dispassionately. Now, the personal law on marriages, on inheritance, on divorce is some areas on which we require to arrive at a common matrix. Yes, there are personal laws which are completely in difference when it comes to the Hindu marriage, or with the Muslim marriage, or with the Sikh marriage, Parsi marriage, divorces, inheritance laws. All these are in different boxes, and even amongst the Hindus, there are different sampradayas on where you have to reconcile. So the first point should be not move towards a uniform civil code, but try to see if there is a common denominator, at least on divorces. At least on divorce, you can try to see whether you can bring about a common platform for these. And the best starting point was during the Shah Bano case. And the Shah Bano case, the Supreme Court did rule. And unfortunately, the Congress buckled, and the Rajiv Gandhi's biggest disservice to the nation was that it buckled.
We'll talk about the political aspect of it in just a bit, but I want to get in Dr. Tasleem Ahmed Rehmani. Dr. Tasleem Ahmed Rehmani, isn't there great room to actually accommodate all of these diversities, but in a uniform code?
You see, as far as the court's observations are concerned, they are well within the purview of Article 44 to give such observations to the government of India. But as far as the implementation of Uniform Civil Code is concerned, this is the responsibility of the central government to come out with a clear-cut criteria and mechanism how to implement a Uniform Civil Code and with what blueprint, and let the country debate the blueprint and criteria and mechanism.
But
if there is an acceptable criteria for all the communities, then it's fine. But if it is not,
that's a valid
there
point.
must be a start. Why we waited 70 years?
Okay, I think, Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, let's go to you on that.
As far as the Muslim personal law is
go to Dr. Trivedi. We'll come back to you on that point. We'll come back to you on that point. I just want to go to Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi.
Civil Code. Ajala, let me complete.
Okay, make your point. I'll go back to Dr. Sudhanshu after that. All right, please complete your point.
I want to. Whenever we discuss Uniform Civil Code, it seems that as if we have to curtail the Muslim personal law, and that's why we need a uniform. This is not a reality. And this must not be. This is the community prerogative. They are well within the purview of debating various of their personal laws. They are debating the criteria of divorce. They are debating the polygamy, etc. So let the communities decide what they want.
Okay, fair enough. We got your point.
So, Dr. Trivedi, isn't it time then for the government, after repeated reminders from none less than the Supreme Court, to at least start the process of moving towards the Uniform Civil Code? What stands in the way?
Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, the question was for you. What's stopping the government from moving forward on this?
Okay. As far as this Uniform Civil Code is concerned, you know very well that our position is categorically clear. We are very much in favor of this, which is very much there in the Constitution and also in the various judgment of the courts and just the recent judgment of the High Court. But this is a constitutional amendment, which is having an overriding socio-cultural effect. So we want to do it through consensus rather than going through majority or forcing something which some sectors.
Okay, what's been the movement forward so far? Because since you say your stand is clear, let me just point out to the viewers, the fact is that this is something that has been in the BJP manifesto since 1998.
The problem is there is some particular mindset. The question is asked from BJP. We are very much open. If somebody is ready, we want to do it through the process of consensus. But you have to remember two or three things. A particular skewed mindset. Let me complete the sentence, and whatever you want, you can say. Just a couple of months back, we were discussing a lot about in the TV channels that somebody has said that the 4 children should be there. But nobody dared to talk about 4 wives. You talk about whether the living relationship or something like that, it's only for what? And as far as Mr. Rehmani was saying, every community is having the right to preserve their socio-cultural legacy. But if you are asking about the issue of the divorce and other things, in Christianity there is a concept of divorce, in Islam there is a concept of divorce, but in Hinduism there is no at all a concept of divorce. Here the marriage is not only for life, but it is for 7 births. But still we have accepted the concept of divorce in the modern emerging society. So it is for all the religious leaders. It is for...
Hello, sir. Christ,
yeah, that's what he's saying.
That's why I am saying. And one more thing. One more thing. Let me complete one more sentence. Mr. Zafaryab Jilani is here, who is here in the capacity of Muslim Personal Law Board member, who has vociferously opposed the Shahbano case judgment. Means on one aspect you consider that there should not be even an iota of infringement in the religious feeling as far as the religion is concerned from the point of view of state. On the other hand, Mr. Zafaryab Jilani is a member of the Babri Masjid Action Committee, which takes a stand in the court that where Bhagwan Ram was born, it has to be decided by court, not by the religious feeling. How can you live with the dichotomy of the two instances? And a divorced woman cannot get even a few hundred rupees on the issue of no infringement in the religious concept. And on the other hand, the God is born where should be decided by court. The entire politico-intellectual establishment of India should come out with things, then an amicable solution can be governed.
We are governed by
Mr. Jilani,
I want a logical answer.
Why not move in that direction?
You people have forced the parliament at the time of Rajiv Gandhi, and Rajiv Gandhi unfortunately succumbed to your pressure.
No.
Let him respond.
No, it is not so. Rajiv Gandhi was not a child. He could not succumb to pressure. He has decided it in his own, after understanding everything. Now, first of all, I may tell you that the Supreme Court itself has said in the 1994 judgment of Ismail Farooqi that this is a dispute of property. This is not a dispute of your faith. It is you have claimed the birth of Lord Rama at a place.
No, sir. We will not go into the Ayodhya issue. Please let's limit ourselves.
Dispute of compensation to divorcee becomes a religious issue, but the place of God becomes a title dispute.
Yes, so that's a larger debate. Let's here limit ourselves to the Uniform Civil Code.
Supreme Court has said
why not at least start a debate and make it inclusive, Mr. Jilani?
Court says so.
No, but the Supreme Court has also sent out repeated nudges and reminders that there is a need for a uniform civil code. So let's get back to that point. The point is that the top court of this country has also said repeatedly and urged the government to start the implementation for a uniform civil code. So Mr. Jilani, just coming back to you on the points that you were making and also to answer Dr. Trivedi's questions, you talk about the fact that this particular aspect of the Muslim personal law protects the women. I ask you, is that equality in your mind? If you are going to put forth that argument, which you said if a medical condition does not allow a wife to have physical relations with the husband, so the husband should be able to go out and marry 3 times again, would you extend the same to women? No, you don't.
Not 3 times, I'm not saying. I'm only talking of once.
But does your law allow a woman the same?
What a question. No.
We're talking about equality. If you genuinely feel that there is complete equality in all the provisions of your law, answer that question.
I don't think there is any in our constitution.
Dr. Rehmani, will come to you. The question was for Mr. Jilani.
I don't think there is any scope of discussing the reasons.
But Dr. Rehmani is saying something.
No, but you had made a point.
Let him complete.
I've only responded to the point made by Mr. Jilani. So let him answer my question, and then we'll go across to Dr. Rehmani. Yes, Mr. Jilani, please.
Yes, you see, this is the first point and foremost important thing for having a second wife, that you must be in a position to maintain both the wives equally. I'm not talking of third or fourth. That is a necessity where it may be. It is only permission. But
so that is irrespective. That is irrespective. That still doesn't take away from the fact that here is a woman whose choice of being married to a man and having full ownership of him is taken away. That's her right, sir. Wouldn't you agree?
No, that militates also against Article 14.
To be in a monogamous relationship.
That militates also against Article 14.
What I am submitting is that these are exceptional cases. Kindly go through the country and throughout the country, and you will not find even one.
No, don't talk about exceptions, sir. We are talking about what we are talking about is a rational piece of people. Let us not talk about exceptions. Let us talk about normal human beings. Let us talk about
rational, 100%
let us talk about commonalities.
And we will try to convince you. Give us time.
No, I want
your mindset.
I want to come.
You do not impose your mindset upon us.
You are talking.
You cannot
I am saying.
Rationality is not your prerogative.
No, I am not saying I am correct. I have no views on this. I am only saying.
It's not just about rationality and reason.
Let us debate it. You cannot say I will have 4 wives and that is non-negotiable.
Father Stanley, one country, one law. Keeping in mind the equality of all before the law isn't a uniform civil code desirable. Father Stanley, isn't it time in the 21st century for India to have a
You cannot debate from a point of non-negotiable position.
Father Stanley.
Every religion has got its own personal laws. I think we should respect the personal laws of every religion. Christianity absolutely have no issue in accepting the laws of the land in connection with marriage. But in the case of divorce, the marriage union of a man and a woman, whether it happens in the church, there is a kind of a sacred union which is supposed to be, These are not questions because it's a union. There is no divorce in the Catholic Church, in the Christianity. So basically, on that front of the universal civil code, we will have to differ on, because the personal law permits that we will have to prove that marriage did not have. That we call it the null and void.
But
the nullity of marriage has to be proved.
Trivedi made earlier that even according to Hindu beliefs, the marriage is supposed to last for 7 lives. But the fact remains that according to the law of the land, divorce is an option.
Yes.
See, when we build a nation,
which is where beliefs are
that's where here what's happening is most of the laws in the country have been rejected, done, and special marriage acts and all those things are in line with the Hindu laws, not giving any respect to the other religions. You asking me a special marriage act has given kind of a divorce to a Christian couple and they come to the church to remarriage, which is not possible, because most of the laws are in the country, especially the special marriage act laws in the country has been based on
Stanley,
the Hindu principles.
You're making one point about divorce, but I ask you, are you in general otherwise in favor of a uniform civil code if it takes into account all these differences and works forward in some way? Would you not agree that the
I am talking
needs
to the same thing. In the case of marriageable age,
governor of this country.
So definitely we respect the constitution of this country. At most sacred thing in this country is the constitution for the country and for all the citizens, and for whatever religion they may live. Because religion is a personal thing and the personal law of every religion needs to be respected.
All right.
And in the case of uniform civil code, the church says,
yes, go ahead.
There is
we are actually in
no diverse on this, no divergent.
Yes and no answer is what I can say, because you can't ask the divorce has to be put into this place and the court takes a position on divorce and that has to be practiced, which is not possible. So we have to respect the church's front, especially on the divorce part, which we don't respect.
No, let us take the tribals.
So this is
Mr. Venkatesh, just a second. Dr. Trivedi wants to come in. Dr. Trivedi wants to come in. Just a second.
I want to draw an attention on the pathetic situation of the women of the minorities slightly moving away from this polygamy aspect. You remember the case of Imrana in Uttar Pradesh? She was raped by her father-in-law, and a Qazi has given a judgment that by act of this, she has...
Don't confuse the thing, please.
No, I am not saying polygamy, let me complete the sentence. I am not saying polygamy, let me complete the sentence, then you answer. The Qazi has given a judgment that by this act, Imrana has become the wife of her father-in-law. So in a way, she has become the stepmother of her husband. These type of ridiculous judgments are coming, and nobody from Muslim Personal Law Board or the Muslim Clerics have come out openly against of this. So this is creating much more complications and pathetic condition for women. And second of my point is, if somebody is having such a strong belief in their religious aspect, they want their separate civil law, why you are not having such a strong commitment that you also obey the same criminal law? You can have a uniform criminal law. Why you are not accepting that if somebody is doing some theft, his hand should be chopped as per the religious decree?
No, and adding to
you are ready to accept the civil law, but not the criminal law.
Also the issue of triple talaq, Dr. Rehmani.
Means on criminal act, you are ready to accept the law of the land and the law of the day. But on civil aspect, you are not ready to accept the law of the land and law of the day. Because whosoever suits you, you adopt it. Whichever suits you.
All right, Father Stanley, just a second. Father Stanley, just a second. Dr. Rehmani, do you want to respond? Because the specific issue was about the regressive practices as a result of the Muslim personal law. How can that be supported?
Dr. Rehmani. Dr. Rehmani, if you can hear us, there are certain questions that have been put to you by Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, and we've added to that. Now, the question is, it's not just about polygamy. Dr. Trivedi brought up the issue of the triple talaq. He brought up the issue of various other things. I will also add to it. I'll just very quickly, if I can just draw a comparison here. The Hindu law, the Marriage Act allows 21 years for male and 18 years for female as a minimum. But the Muslim personal law allows women to get married at the age of 15. Now, let's talk about polygamy and bigamy. No bigamy or polygamy allowed, otherwise punishable as per Section 17 of the Hindu Marriage Act. But Muslim personal law, as we've already discussed, allows a man to have 4 wives, not the other way around? You might think it's a bizarre question, but I think it's a question of equality. Secondly, the issue of divorce. We've talked about the issue of divorce vis-a-vis the Christian community and of course the Hindu community, but in terms of the talaq, as Padma judges pointed out, there's a triple talaq issue. Inheritance Act as well. Daughters' share is equal to 1/2 of the son's share, keeping in mind that a woman is worth half a man. This is what the Muslim personal law states. Can you really, sir, sit here today and say that your law is equal to women, is equal for women?
See, yeah, let me now start. As whenever we discuss the Uniform Civil Code, everybody try to attack particularly the Muslim personal law, and it seems that as if bringing the Uniform Civil Code means to curtail the Islamic laws. This must not be the case. This is India. There are so many communities, there are so many personal laws, there are so many traditions in the country prevail. Now, one by one, polygamy, it is for 1,500 years polygamy all over the world.
Mr. Rehmani, we don't want to curtail your laws. You are adopting totality, even the criminal law.
No, 1,500 years, fine. The question is it relevant in the 21st century? Are you giving your women of today true equality?
If the community, it is being practiced all over the world. Billions of Muslims are practicing. Why we in India we have this problem? And divorce, whatever the provisions of
because our constitution calls for equality.
This is the best way.
Please understand the whole idea of secularism. The whole idea of secularism is to treat every.
To the best of my knowledge, I think in Pakistan and Bangladesh even the polygamy is not allowed, despite being a Muslim country.
Uniform Civil Code will be the first stepping stone to define a secular state. Please understand that. If you want a secular state, you have to accept the Uniform Civil Code that the state will treat all its citizens, and all its citizens means women, and women are the biggest minority in this country, not the Muslims, not the Christians, not the Sikhs. Muslims, please understand, the women are the biggest.
All right, Dr. Rehmani, I think there's a very important question that's come to you from M.R. Venkatesh. Mr. Rehmani, there's an important question which you might have missed in the din. The question is, if you want a truly secular state, you want a platform which is equal for all individuals, then why would you be against the Uniform Civil Code?
All its citizens equally.
And that's the point, you have Article 14. So if you're talking about respect for your practices, there's also Article 14 which talks about right of equality before the law.
Of the Constitution.
And isn't that, isn't the Muslim personal law circumscribing that for women?
You have to remove.
And in fact, I think the more important point that has been raised right now is the question of beliefs versus the law. Beliefs of a religion versus the law, and that's the point that we'll come back to. Mr. Rehmani, M.R. Venkatesh, we have to slip into a very quick break. We're heading into a very quick break for just about 2.5 minutes. We'll be back on the other side and debate this issue. Back in a couple of minutes. So it's a Uniform Civil Code proscribing the religious freedoms of any one community. Let me put that question to you, Mr. Zafaryab, Jilani, Father Stanley and Dr. Rehmani, all three of you. Let's start with you, Mr. Jilani. Is it curbing your freedom to practice your religion?
Yes. Yes,
how?
Of course. The rights which have been guaranteed under Article 25 of the Constitution of India, which says that one has the right to practice his religion in his own way. That is being curtailed because this Quran.
But is the practice of criminal law then doing the same? A uniform criminal law? Is that also curtailing your religious freedom?
That is not personal law. But we will welcome if Islamic criminal law is introduced in the country. We are not against that. We want, if you can say, afford to do it. Yes, of course we will welcome, but we do not insist because it is not a part of that kind of injunction, Quranic injunction.
Okay, Dr. Stanley, Father Stanley?
These laws which have been described.
See, basically what you have to understand is the personal lives of every religion needs to be respected. Criminal laws are part of the civil authority to respect. The law and
but isn't it different from the law?
Has to be taken care of the government. every country's criminal law has to be taken care of with the state government.
You know, Father Stanley, when you say that, yes, that has to be taken care of by the government, but I'm just adding to the question, then you complete your statement, then isn't the equality of all citizens also the right? No, isn't the equality? Yes, you can, but can I add to the question, please?
Let me complete my statements before you say anything.
Isn't guarding equality of every citizen also the responsibility of the government?
Yes, central government has to give it. That is, you see, now you're talking about something. What happens to the Dalit Christians? Are you supposed to give the equal rights to Dalit Christians? Why there is no Dalit Christian
issue? We are talking about equal rights to everybody.
Listen, the uniform civil code means every citizen should be treated equally in every aspect, not only one particular thing. This UCC is coming as a kind of a political issue more than any other thing. Now, in the case of marriage, the church goes by the law of this land. Absolutely no problem. 18 and 21, marriageable age, though the canon law gives
but not in the case of divorce.
Earlier, but the canon law insists that it gives importance to the civil law, and that the Episcopal Council of every country should decide on its law. And India has
but not in the case of divorce,
according to the civil law, it has been practiced. Our only objection is in matters of divorce, because in the Christianity there is no divorce, and that aspect of the particular personal law has to be respected. So when the civil laws, the uniform civil code is made,
will a uniform
please
civil
take into
code
consideration every aspect of every other religious community in order to keep the secular fabric of the country intact. The secular fabric has to be intact. So every community has to be consulted.
See, the point
is
Uniform Civil Code is a destination point. In our march to secularism and maintain secularism, Uniform Civil Code will be an important destination. It is not a beginning. So to do that, we may probably...
Sir, India has got a non-interventive secularism. India has got a non-interventive secularism. Why there should be...
But when you speak of secularism, aren't you talking about equality for all? But isn't that the very point, Father Stanley?
Non-intervention is secularism.
M.R. Venkatesh, when there is a demand for a truly secular fabric in this country, doesn't that talk about an absolutely equal platform for everybody?
Mandated by the Constitution of this country, and the founding fathers had placed it as a very important directive principle, and that has to be legislated in a proper way at a proper time. Given that, I am saying, yes, all the minorities, including the Dalits, including the tribals, including the Sikhs, including the Parsis.
Directive principle, not a fundamental right.
Please understand, I did not...
But in this case of uniform civil code...
I know that, sir. I know that. That is why I am saying it has to be legislated. That is why I said it has to be legislated. It is in the directive principle.
And it is eventually the government that's going to have to do that. There have been several nudges from the top court of this country. Let's go back to Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi on that. He wants to make a point. Yes. So Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, what is then stopping any progress on this front? You wanted to make a point, and then also that question of what is stopping the progress on the front of a uniform civil code.
My personal law is supreme, and it will overrule the Constitution is unacceptable.
Fair. Your point taken, Dr. Trivedi.
The basic mindset which is stopping the progress in this direction is the vested interest of the certain communities and their biased, self-convenient explanations. Like here, our co-panelist was saying about the Christian belief. To the best of my knowledge, in Christian belief, the abortion is a crime. Then you should adopt this. That any Christian woman who goes for abortion should be put in jail.
We don't stand by
but it is not.
It's a crime.
And second thing,
have been protesting
as far as he was saying that what should be the rights of Dalit Christians, I would like to ask you, does Christianity recognizes caste? No. When Christianity doesn't recognize caste, how you talk about Dalit Christians? Dalit are the result of the Hindu caste system which originated from Vedas. But you want to get connected to the Hindu beliefs till it suits your needs. Otherwise, any Christian should have categorically said, we do not recognize caste, so there cannot be a forward, backward of Dalit and Christian.
Constitutional rights and the laws of this land away from Hinduism. Treat Hinduism as another religion, not as a state authority that you can determine any other practice of any other religion.
Does Christianity recognizes caste? Say yes or no. If no, then what is the question of Dalit
Christianity does not believe in caste, but why the
Are Dalit the
discrimination?
result of
If
Christianity?
you are talking about uniform
No.
civil code, it has to be applied to everybody.
Well,
Why
of
the
course, that's the
discrimination
entire
happens?
idea
No,
of
I
the
am
Uniform
saying
Civil
you
Code.
are talking
And
about
which is why
Dalit
for
Christians.
any fears that anyone might have of their freedoms being curbed, at least a dialogue is the only way forward, the only way that such fears can be assuaged. The point of the matter is that you finally got the intervention of the court. You've got none less than the Supreme Court asking the government, why not have a uniform civil code? Will there now be movement in that direction? The BJP says yes. We'll be watching very closely. For now, completely out of time. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on debate number 2.